Golden Knights having great success so far this year. Does that put any pressure on you guys to succeed?
Who are the Golden Knights? No, only pressure is that the sniping of people saying you got to do as good as them.
It's just good. Vegas is treating us well, and I think the record doesn't show how hard that we work, and it's tough in that way, but it's good for us in the inner circle to understand what we have going on in Vegas, and if we just continue to trust and believe in each other, the sky's the limit for this team, and I'm blessed to be a part of it.
Our expectations maybe at the start of the season were a little unrealistic.
Man, we're not even worried about the playoffs right now. What we do is we take it week by week. We gotta worry about next week. You start looking ahead and you start looking over people, you might not even make it. So
that being said, to me, Urban Meyer is one of the lowest pieces of garbage there is on this earth.
You are tuned in to Straight Bet Sports live on the Gorilla Cross Radio Network.
Foto, historia, que Dios lo acompañe.
Ahí va Montiel con la ilusión de todos los argentinos. Contra Loris, Gonzalo Montiel. Va Montiel. Montiel, ¡gol! Cielo lo hizo Diego, lo hizo Cuchufo, lo hizo el Tata, lo hizo Luque, lo hicieron ustedes, jugadores, que se ganaron el cielo. Argentina campeón del mundo, Messi es campeón del mundo, no podía ser de otra manera sino sin sufrir. Argentina, la selección argentina de Lionel Scaloni es campeón del mundo. Argentina. Argentina campeón del mundo, bicho. Manolo. 36 años. Esperando, querido compatriota. Grítele usted también en casa. Argentina. Argentina. Es campeón del mundo.
Ah, man, Joe said it best on Facebook. What a way to start the show. You heard it there. You see me with the jersey. You can hear my voice is already gone, man. I had to start the show like that. You guys have no idea. I was 2 years old the last time Argentina won the World Cup, so I didn't remember watching it whatsoever. 36 years in the making, man. Listening to Andres Cantor go crazy the way he did. You guys know he's Argentinian, so obviously it meant so much to him being around the sport of soccer and sports throughout his whole life. So it's just amazing to watch that, man. It gives me chills. I watched it over 100 times already. But man, it is what it is. You already know. Jose V, Straight Bet Sports. We are coming to you live from the Gorilla Cross Radio Network here in downtown Las Vegas, Nevada. Quan59, Jalen G, Jose V up in the studio. We do got a guest tonight, which we're going to get to here shortly. And I just want to say, man, thank you to each and every one of you that's been a part of the show here. 2.5 years running, man. We've had a great time. A lot of good things going on. A lot of good things. I'm just excited because there's a lot more that's going to happen. The show ain't over. We got a lot more to come. But what's up, Jalen? You good, my guy? How you doing this evening?
I'm doing pretty good, man. You know, Christmas week. Had exciting football this weekend. Just doing good. Blessed.
Christmas is right around the corner, my man. How was your weekend, though? You had a good weekend?
Yes, sir. Spent some time with my daughter, you know. Got to watch some exciting football.
Okay.
You know, so, Raiders won. We're going to talk about that later, though.
Yeah, man. That was a crazy win. We're definitely going to talk about that. Anything football related right now is getting crazy because it's towards the end.
Yeah,
playoffs are right around the corner. And there's a lot of teams that don't have the greatest of records, but they're still in the hunt. So we definitely got to talk about all that. Let's go ahead and bring in our guy, our homie. You know him already before I did. Obviously, we all know him. He's in the media game, been out here forever. Also a UNLV alumni. Not just a gentleman that's here in the media, but a gentleman that covers his school. He knows everything about it. He is our guy, Terrel Emerson from Talk That Talk Radio. What's good, my guy? How you doing?
What's going on, guys? What's going on? I appreciate you guys for having me. Thank you again. Thank you again. Yeah, man. Go Rebels, right?
Hey, long time coming, my man. You and I have been talking about having you on the show for a minute now. I know it's not the way we wanted to make it happen, but we greatly appreciate you being here, my man. We got a lot to talk about, so thank you so much. But before we get into everything that's going on, man, you guys already know what it is. I tell you guys to do it every single week. Drop that comment, drop that like, drop that share. Let everyone know what it is that you are tuned into tonight, and we will go from there. Straight Bet Sports, Jose V. We are here, Gorilla Cross Radio, on all Gorilla Cross Radio platforms, YouTube, Twitter, Facebook. And if you miss any of the show, any part of the show, or any of our previous show, you want to watch it, Jose V, Straight Bet Sports on YouTube. Not only that, on all audio platforms, you can find us, Straight Bet Sports. Look it up. We are right there. But fellas, big weekend. Obviously, we know what just happened. We know what just went down. You guys saw the big video that I just put up there. Andres Cantor going crazy with the goal, the screaming, and everything that's happening. But I gotta get my World Cup stuff off my chest real quick. I'll let you guys talk about it real quick too here shortly. But couple stats, couple things that a lot of people are looking at, and it's just crazy to believe, right? We have a guy in Lionel Scaloni, the head coach of Argentina. This guy played with Lionel Messi in 2006 in a World Cup, side by side, right? Young Messi, first World Cup, he's there with him. Translate, move forward all these years, right? Guy gets the managerial job with Argentina by accident. Sampaoli gets sacked. He's basically the guy there temporarily. He ends up keeping the job, right? Out of 42 matches in his career as the Argentine manager, as the head guy since he's gotten this job, he's lost one game. One game, guys. And that's the first game of the World Cup against Saudi Arabia. When they were up 1-0 and lost 2-1, when Saudi Arabia was 25-1 in game to win that game, which was amazing odds. But one loss in 42 matches, right? And then here's the resume. The most important part of everything. You got one Finalisma trophy, which a lot of people say it's not that big of a tournament. I get it. But you still have to go to Italy and beat Italy on their home turf. That was one. You get a Copa America trophy, ending a 20-year 8 trophy drought for Argentina. That's another one, right? And giving Messi his big first country tournament title, right? And then the biggest one of them all, 36 years in the making, Maradona with the hand of God in 86 in Mexico to win the World Cup. And now 36 years later, he gets it again. Messi gets his first World Cup. For everyone that wants to say that Messi is not the GOAT and Ronaldo is better, I don't care if we're talking about club statistics, okay? Because if we're talking about statistics in general, yes, I know Pelé has 3 World Cups. But are we gouging it off of championships, as a lot of people like to do in the NBA with LeBron and Jordan and other people, or are we basing it off of what you've done overall in your career? And we're talking about stats. I think Messi's pretty much almost overtaking Pelé in almost every stat, close be it. Now, he finally has that cup that Maradona had forever that he was never able to get, and people were always criticizing him. Hell, I criticized him at one point and said that Ronaldo was better than him because Ronaldo had that Euro Cup, yet Messi didn't even have a Copa America. But that's all out the window now. In my opinion, from my time of being able to watch soccer, if you're older than me, so be it. Maybe you watched other guys. But to me, at the end all be all, the way it is now, Messi is going to go down as one of the all-time greats, with no doubt about it. But to me, he is the GOAT because of what he's done, what he's brought for this country, for Argentina. If you guys saw the aerial views from Buenos Aires, the drones, it's insane how much that country loves and how much soccer is everything in Argentina. I got to hang out in Miami and watch this game with my 83-year-old dad. When Messi scored the third goal in the second overtime, I thought my dad was going to have a heart attack. I'm not lying to you guys. He's sitting in the corner. He gets up and goes, "Go!" and sits back down. I turn around. I'm like, "What's going on?" No, I'm fine. I'm just too excited. But to me, this is something that I'm never going to forget. It's an experience and a moment that I will cherish forever. My dad has been able to watch all 3 of Argentina's World Cup championships. That's the crazy thing about it. I technically been able to watch 2, but only one, which is the one that I remember now. But Messi, Argentina, to all the players, to everyone involved with this team. And not only that, big respect to Argentina for allowing Sergio El Kun Agüero to technically be on the roster as a coach, allowing him to get a World Cup medal. The guy would have been on this team whether or not for health issues that he had with his heart and having to step away from soccer. So the fact that the team did that is amazing. And then the final stat, why it makes it even more sweeter that a lot of people are not going to talk about, El Kun Agüero, his son is Messi's his godfather, okay? And his son, his wife, is Maradona's daughter. So that kid is Maradona's grandson. So that just shows you how everything rolls all into one. It's beautiful, man. It was a great World Cup. Final thing I will say, agree or disagree with me, it was the greatest World Cup final in the history of the World Cup, at least that I've seen. Now, I know you guys saw a little bit of it. You probably follow some of the glimpses. And like you said, even if you don't know much about soccer, Terrell, it's hard to ignore greatness and not know when it's in front of you.
Yeah, for sure, man. As a matter of fact, I actually woke up early that day and I was laying in bed. And I'll be honest, I saw that the game was coming on. And I was like, okay, well, I know that the game is coming on. I know what it means. I'll probably catch the end of it, right? Yeah, didn't happen. I looked at Twitter and I seen the conversation and you talked about kind of how involved I try to be. I was like, man, there's no way I'm missing out on this conversation. So I cut it on immediately. I understand obviously what it means just in terms of the soccer fans that I've spoken to. And I'm really happy that you started with that clip because that was one of the things that stood out to me, just seeing the reaction of the people that it meant so much to. And I mean, to be honest with you, I cried when the Packers won a title about a decade ago. So I can only imagine how an entire country feels, you know what I mean? So just from that perspective, as I said before, it's impossible to witness something like that and not feel some type of tie to it, especially being a sports fan.
What are your thoughts, my guy?
Well, I feel very honored to be able to get a chance to watch the game. Like,
Okay.
I worked at nighttime.
Okay.
I got off at 4:30, so I woke up at 7:30. I got able to watch the game, and all respects to France as well too.
Oh yeah, great.
Yeah, Mbappe, man,
Bro, he got down, bro, to score 3 goals to bring his team.
And then, like he said too, I was on Twitter. There's people I thought didn't even watch soccer. Really, honestly, was talking about it. So, you know, it was just a great thing to, you know, be a part of and experience. So I thought it was really good. So.
Can I ask one question if possible?
Of course, go for it. What you got?
So I've been waiting to speak to a diehard soccer fan to ask this question. Now, we understand Bron had that 51-point triple-double in game 1 against Golden State in the NBA Finals, right?
Correct.
Mbappe scoring 3 goals in a loss like that, is that the equivalent of Bron doing that game 1 performance in a game 7 and losing? I'm trying to figure out what type of equivalent that is, because if I'm Mbappe, I understand it's a team sport, but if I'm in a locker room, it's going to take me a little longer to get dressed.
What do you think? I'll let you jump on this one first because I saw you smiling.
I'm be honest, honestly, hell yeah. He scored 2 goals in 2 minutes. He scored 2 goals in 2 minutes. That was crazy, you know? So I feel, and it's for the World Cup, you know, on the biggest stage of them all, you know, millions of people watching that game, you know. It is Messi's last, you know.
That's
World
what they're
Cup,
saying.
so-
That's what they're saying. If I'm him, I'll chill out too. I wouldn't try to come back too early.
Yeah,
You're
I
gonna
mean,
be 39.
the story's finished. He done everything in the book. So, I mean, it will be hard for him to come back with all he's accomplished, in his soccer career. So
Yeah, man. But once again, big ups to Messi, big ups to Argentina. You guys know that I'm excited. You guys know that I'm happy, but it's done. Got to get that third star. Got to get that new jersey, man. If you guys saw the World Cup Championship jersey, it is sick. I'm so excited for it, man. I can't wait. But look, man, we got a lot more stuff aside from soccer, obviously, to talk about. We got some NFL. We got some local stuff going on here in Vegas. Obviously, we got the Lady Rebels tonight. We got the Men Rebels tomorrow. UNLV football is over, but we got some signings, right? We got some kids that are coming in. We got the coaches, obviously. Big name in Bobby Petrino. I haven't been able to talk to anyone since this signing, so I'm actually glad that I have both of you here in the studio tonight. Obviously, you being a former player, you still follow the team. You have ties to a lot of your family, as you like to call it. They're not just players anymore, and you have the full tie. You know what I mean?
Right.
You're there. You're there 24/7. You're covering everything. So let's jump into some Lady Rebels, because I haven't talked much Lady Rebels since the season started. Haven't had an opportunity to get out there yet, but I know they went on the road recently to Oklahoma State.
Yep.
That was a tough one there. They got blown out of the water, if we're being honest.
Yeah.
And during the season, you're going to have those games. Obviously, you don't want to see those type of games. You never want to go into a team like that, especially a Big 12 team, and get beat the way you did. If you're a Mountain West team, you want to go out there and show that our conference is legit and we can fight and play against these type of teams, right? But what did you see in that game? And so far, what have you seen from the Lady Rebels this season?
Well, I want to start by saying I don't think any Power 5 school, regardless of that last outcome, are going to look at the Lady Rebels on the schedule and downplay them. I don't think I think that time has probably passed, to be honest with you. But, I mean, from what I've seen this season is I've seen a team who now knows what the finish line looks like. And one of the things that I try not to do, but it tends to happen in this field, we tend to merge sports, right? And the thing I always liken it to is this is insane that we can talk about it, but maybe the first 3 times that Bron went to the finals, like back to back to back, we began to see a different LeBron during the regular season. And that's what we're kind of getting with the Lady Rebels. The Lady Rebels tasted not only a Mountain West regular season title last year, but they captured the conference title as well. And not only that, you kind of get, let's be honest, you kind of get shafted in terms of the seedings. You have to go to Arizona. You give Arizona a scare. I mean, this team is playing with the end goal in mind, and you can kind of see it at times. It does appear that this team gets to kind of flowing through the motions at certain times. I mean, their 80% is better than a lot of teams' 100%, so that's why they're able to get away with it. But going back to the Oklahoma State game, plain and simple, you can't win if you don't score. There's no way around it. And to be honest with you, whenever I watch this team, it can be somebody it can be somebody different any given night, right? And the thing about that is you would expect at some point for one person to be on. And in that last game, it was kind of just one of those moments. Everybody was off. And obviously it's a long season, so you can kind of expect things like that to happen, but you typically hope it doesn't happen on one of those bigger stages in the non-conference season.
So 11 games into the season, obviously we know the names, we know who the main stars are that were here, that were coming, that were going to be starting, that were going to be playing, but is there any one particular name that has stood out for you that you don't feel anyone's giving too much credit or talking about?
I'm gonna go with Alyssa Brown. I'm gonna go with sophomore Alyssa Brown. Alyssa isn't playing tonight, in addition to Nneka Obiazer, but Alyssa, I spoke with Roman Owen before the season, and I kind of just talked about, the idea of jumps from one year to the next. And I was like, you see people improve, and I'm sure, Jalen, you've obviously played with guys and you've watched their growth and their maturity, right? Mm-hmm. But one of the things that's so interesting about this particular group, me and Roman, I mean, I don't know if Roman has his answer yet, but we're trying to figure out who's made the biggest jump in this last year. And to be honest, the more that this season kind of progresses, it's looking like Alyssa Brown. I mean, you get somebody who kind of played sparingly throughout the regular season last year because Nneka was the 6th woman coming off of the bench. But now Nneka doesn't get that luxury anymore. Nneka has to be in the starting lineup. And now, Alyssa, you fall into where Nneka was last year. And she's filled into that role perfectly. Even with Nneka sitting out a couple of games in Hawaii, Alyssa was in the starting lineup. And I mean, I think the first time she was in the starting lineup, 18 points, 13 boards. Like I said, guys, this team is extremely young still, considering what they were able to accomplish last year. As I said before, I think the sky is the limit for this group.
What's up, man? You good?
Yeah, I'm pretty good.
You don't watch the Lady Rebels that much.
Nah,
do you,
yeah.
it's
I
all
don't really
good.
follow the Lady Rebels
It's
like
all
that.
good. It's all
You
good.
got
Not
to.
everybody.
My goal this season is to get you out to a game. That's my goal.
And I'm telling you, going to games is not a hard. They'll get you out there. That's not hard at all. Now, if you haven't been to a Lady Rebels game, let me ask you a question. Have you been to an Aces game?
Aces game? Nah, I haven't been to Aces game.
So
either.
look, so then my recommendation, because I've been to WNBA. Obviously, we do all that. But even before all that happened out here in Vegas, I did watch WNBA. But then I stopped because I hadn't gone to it. I was just watching on TV, right? So I started covering the Lady Rebels. I would recommend go to a Lady Rebel game first. Get your feet wet. Get your feet wet. Get used to watching live women basketball in person. And then go check out the Aces. You'll see the transition and the difference of the style of basketball, and you'll see how exciting the WNBA is, because WNBA still does not get enough credit.
100%.
I get it. It's not for everyone. I'm not telling everyone if you don't like it, just go jump and watch it. No. But if you feel like trying something new, give it a shot and watch it out, man.
I watched a couple WNBA games before. I see how it is a little different. Like, it's more fundamental. Like, yeah, it's more fundamental for sure.
Yeah, it's not just about dunking and shooting.
Yeah.
There's so much more involved into that type of game, man. But once again, Jose V, Jalen G, our guy Terrell Emerson up in the studio, Quan 59. You are tuning to Straight Bet Sports live on the Gorilla Cross Radio Network. Hope you guys caught that intro, man. If you guys didn't catch the intro on how we started the show, you better watch the replay after today. Trust me, we had a good one. But tonight, taking on Northern Arizona. Northern Arizona coming in at 6-6. I don't look at records anymore, especially when it comes to college basketball, because you can have teams that are literally Louisville, not too long ago, a couple week ago or a couple days ago, no wins their first game, right? You have teams that are beating ranked teams that are in the win-loss column, not looking that great, right? But is there anything about this Northern Arizona team that does scare you coming into tonight's game, or do you think that the Rebels should have a fairly easy game tonight?
I feel like I have two different answers for you to that same question. Again, the Lady Rebels can't look past Northern Arizona. They played them last year in Northern Arizona. They lost by 22. So I just mentioned how great last year's team was, and you still got a 22-point loss to Northern Arizona. You've covered Lindy.
Yeah.
Trust me, they have been made well aware of what happened last year.
Oh, yeah.
And the interesting thing about this group, I don't think they really have to be reminded. So that's the reason why I'm leaning toward the Lady Rebels tonight. I don't want to give you a prediction in terms of score just yet, because I will be honest. During this 4-game road trip, this team's offense has had moments where it kind of sputters.
Yeah.
And the scary thing is we've watched this team last season sputter and kind of get through it. I talked to Roman. Sometimes it trickles into not only a 3 or 4 minute stretch, but it's the quarter.
Gotcha.
Okay, now it's the half. And now we're trying to figure out what's going on. So as long as that team can avoid those long spurts, or dry spells, I should say, I think they'll be fine tonight.
My question is to you, how do you have so much time, bro? Like, you obviously can give me answers that I need, but I guarantee you, if I flip the switch right now and ask you about UNLV football, you got a whole thing ready for me to and not that you have anything scripted, but I'm saying, how do you have the time to do everything? Because last time I checked, bro, you're everywhere. You're covering football, baseball, basketball, soccer. You're trying to cover anything you can. How do you got so much time, Brody?
I don't look at it that way. To be honest with you, a lot of people ask me kind of how do I do it, and to be honest with you, I almost plugged my online planner, but I have an online planner where I kind of just map out the games for actually I kind of do it by season.
Okay.
So the moment that the Raiders season starts, I put all their games in. The moment that the Aces schedule comes out, I put all their games in. So what I do, I look at the weekly. I've never told this story, by the way.
There you go.
I've looked at I look at it kind of weekly, bi-weekly, and once I look at it weekly, I typically send out an email to the team and let them know these are the games for the week. This is pretty much who has the games. The only thing that I think I've been kind of different about when I'm at games is, you've probably been next to me before when I'm covering 2 games at once.
Times, yeah.
And that's the only time that I'd never really do more than 2 at once, but that's the max that I can do. Typically, it's a game in front of me and there's a game on an iPad. And I still got to handle interviews in both, press conference in one. But to be honest with you, I try not to look at it that way.
Okay.
I mean, similar to what Jalen said, I used to work overnight security.
Okay.
Just recently started bartending. Okay. So that kind of keeps me busy in the morning. So,
Definitely.
I typically find things to juggle.
I'm just saying, man, you be all over the place. And what you just said about having a game here and there, I remember we're at the Dollar Loan Center when UNLV played against Hawaii. You showed up, sat next to me. You literally pulled out your Mac and your iPad, just like I got right here in front of me.
Yeah,
and
man.
you had your setup and you had your games going. But it's crazy because you even added the Ignite, the G League Ignite. You were out there last night tweeting like crazy. The reason I say this, I realize there's certain people I got to get my notifications on. I don't use Twitter the way I should. And I turned your notifications on recently, so my thing will be blowing up. I'm like, what's going on? I'm like, oh, he's at the Ignite game. But that's good for someone like me because I don't have time to follow everything. So if I got someone like yourself that I know, oh, I see him from time to time. We do media, but he's out everywhere. That helps me be able to follow and catch up on everything. So you're doing great work, man. I'm being dead honest with you. I love what you've been doing and everything that you are doing. You're out there grinding like crazy. And I love seeing that because at the end of the day, that motivates me. You know what I mean? I don't stop grinding either. I love to learn from afar and learn from everyone. And like I said it before, I'm here to build bridges, not burn them. The farther that I go, the farther we all go. And that's the way it should be with everybody, man.
Absolutely.
Now,
Absolutely.
UNLV football.
Yeah, man.
I want to talk to both of y'all about this one. It's going to be good.
All right.
So obviously we already know about Odom. Coach Odom is here. You know what I mean? At first, I was kind of skeptical. I had a few conversations with a few people, hit on my guy Joe Arrigo, you know, things of that nature. And spoke to some people about how they felt and how I felt. Not going to say how other people told me, but at first, I was kind of against it. I'm not going to lie. I even tweeted it out right away. Here, I posted that video, that meme of a water boy. Oh, we suck again. You know what I mean? Like, and I'm like, and then I thought about it the next day. I took everything down. I normally don't take tweets down. I say, if I put it, so be it. I'll live and die by it. If you murder me, murder me. But then I thought about it and I said, first, I cover the team. Second, if I want to cover this team and have people respect me for it, I could give my biased opinion, but I also have to give it the right way. I can't be stupid about it, right? So I took a step back. I did some more research, looked into it more. Not a bad hire. Obviously, we still want to see what can happen on the field moving forward. Now, do I think, and we talked about this before, do I think, and I agree that they should have gave Marcus one more year? 100%. I'm not saying that, oh, good, Marcus is gone, I'm glad we brought in Odom. But I don't think that Odom is a bad hire since they got rid of Marcus. You know what I mean? You look at his pedigree, you look at his record, I get it, 500, but you're in the SEC 4 years in a row. You get to a bowl game 3 years in a row. I don't care the record. That's not easy to do, regardless in college football, right?
For sure.
But the big one now, obviously, is Bobby Petrino. Bobby, the homie Bobby coming in. That one to me, I get the off the field, the personal issues, whatever it was. But if we're being real, the guy really hasn't been involved with domestic violence stuff or anything top. Yeah, he had some women issues or whatever it is he wanted to do. But if we're being honest, at the end of the day, he is a great offensive mind when it comes to college football. You know what I mean? And for you to bring in someone like him that was just a head coach at Montana State, I believe it was.
It was
Missouri State.
Missouri State, right? Head coach and him to dip out. Granted, it does look like a stepping stone job, right? Oh, yeah. Like he's going to take this to try to get another big job. But I'll take it if it's for 1 or 2 years. Because I honestly, I believe, and Doug coming back, I think that's good. That is huge because you're bringing back your offensive leader that controls that team. And not just the offensive leader. He's the leader of that team in the locker room from what I've heard from a lot of people. You know what I mean? Obviously, I'm not in the locker room. I can't speak for that. But I think Bobby Petrino is going to help Doug's game tremendously. As long as Doug stays in there, listens, is humble, and does what he has to do, which I'm pretty sure he will.
Exactly.
I like the hire. And of course, the overall offensive line, the running backs, the receivers, what are we going to see? You know what I mean? Like, I'm so curious to what Bobby is already putting together because you know he's already out on the recruiting trail. He's bringing in one of his guys from Arkansas, one of Odom's guys from Arkansas on the offensive line. So they're getting ready, man. If I'm being honest with you, I think the Bobby Petrino hire is a good fit and match with Odom coming in together because we're bringing in guys that are more known at a bigger, higher level in a conference. We're not just bringing in a guy that's getting his first job. We're not bringing in, with all due respect to Tony Sanchez, a guy coming in out of high school to get his first college job. Right. I know Marcus had experience in the college ranks, but he had never been a head coach. You see what I'm saying? Barry has that. Bobby has that. So now you have two guys that are the front runners of running that team that are ex-head coaches. I'm all for it, man. How do you feel? I'll let you go first since you're a former player. How do you feel about both hires? You talked about Bob Barry last week, but how do you feel about Bobby this week?
I'm very excited, honestly, for both hires. I feel like that's huge for UNLV with Doug, with his talent, you know, being able to run the ball, also his arm strength too. I feel like with Ricky White coming back, I feel like it's I feel like it's gonna help Doug a lot. It's gonna help him develop his game more, make better decision making on the field as well. And also with Barry Odom, 2 weeks ago when he first got hired, we were talking about it on the show. I said that he had to he had to come to Nevada and win all in-state talent.
Yep.
And I feel like, and I seen on Twitter, he's been doing that. He's been going to every high school, building relationships with all those coaches and all those players and stuff. And I've been seeing that. So I feel like he's doing a great job. I seen he's been out there recruiting offensive linemen as well. So, and you can't really talk about too much about the transfer portal right now because he just got there. So
yeah,
it's gonna get there slowly though. He's gonna pick it up. So
before I get your thoughts, speaking of the transfer portal, Aiden looked like he's going to BYU, right?
Yeah.
Which I had a conversation with a few people about that one before it even happened. I already knew about it, and it was an interesting one because BYU's different. I know you're going to have NILs. I know they might pay you, but the lifestyle is different. Yeah. It's religious. If you got a girl, you know what I mean? Things are going to change, Aiden. That's all I'm going to say. That's all I'm going to say. I knew this was coming. Like I said, I had conversations with people before, and it was one of his destinations. And that conversation was said to him. What are you going to do when this and this and this happens because of the type of school that they are? We got our guy Kyle Williams. He's been offered by Fresno State. He just posted it recently. He got offered by Coach Prime from Colorado. Who knows if that's true or not, because a lot of kids like to post things. I believe Kyle, though. I don't think he would do anything like that. If that is true, though, that's an interesting move there. But again, going back to the Bobby Petrino hire for you, Terrell, how do you feel about it?
I mean, similar to what Jalen just said, I feel like the Bobby Petrino hire saved my original feelings. And no, I'm gonna be honest, because let's just call a spade a spade. UNLV has this habit of, first of all, I've been covering UNLV sports since 2017 when I got to Vegas.
Okay.
I've covered 3 different head basketball coaches for the Running Rebels. And watching,
so you got here and started doing it right when I did then, because you've been with Marvin.
Yeah,
we've been with TJ, and now with Kevin. Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah,
cool.
man. So we've been doing it for the same amount of time. And the interesting thing was, I watched those 2 coaching searches happen. And I'll be honest, the first time when after Marvin was fired, I heard Jason Kidd. I heard Mike Miller. I heard Mike Bibby.
Petrino.
I heard
Patino. Yeah.
Which still,
I don't know how that name ever came up because it wasn't.
I don't know why people keep saying it. Like, it makes no sense to even want Patino here in Vegas. But do as you will. But to be honest, like I said, when I look at this or at that hire this particular time, I thought it was the same thing. A lot of the times when these head coaches are fired, you hear the biggest name. And obviously, I said it on my radio show as well. If I'm Deion Sanders, am I taking the job here in Vegas? No. But if I'm doing my job right here in Vegas, that's absolutely a call that I make.
Yeah.
And I think what happens is UNLV, the fan base, and I may take some flack from this, but it's fine. But the UNLV fan base has this level and state of delusion to them. And I think what happens is a lot of times people say these names that are unrealistic. And what happens in this field when you cover things in Vegas, you hear these names. And Ed Orgeron was actually brought up, and that had steam for maybe 2 days. And somebody within the college football world who had access to him was like, I just got off the phone with him. Not only does he have no interest in the job, they haven't called him. So at what point are we just saying names? At what point are we just saying names? So from that perspective, I do think Barry Odom was already at a disadvantage on the way in, but in a weird way, I feel like he understood that, which is why that Bobby P hire came. And that may be his way of saying, I know you guys are coming in thinking knowing I'm a defensive coach, understanding what I'm going to do. Cool. Let me give you guys something to chew on in terms of the offense. And I think it was a great hire, similar to everything that you just said about Doug, and going back to what you said about his level of his level of humility rather. He has it. He wouldn't be here if he didn't have it. So I'm expecting big things from him. If somebody could teach him how to not to take hits, that's about it.
Yeah.
Doug's a tough guy.
Slide. My boy got a lot of slide.
Guy.
You got to bring in some baseball players, teach him how to slide a little bit.
For sure. But nah, Doug's a tough player. And I think, again, I think that level and state of delusion that I was speaking about with UNLV fans, Tony Sanchez said it on the way out the door. I hope you guys give the next guy time. I don't know if they gave him time or not, but now it's kind of the same thing with Barry Odom. I hope this fan base gives this man time.
Safe to say that Bobby's going to have full reins of the offense, you think?
I would say so.
Right?
I would say so.
Why not? The guy's the next head coach, and you're bringing him in for a reason.
Yeah. That's what I would think.
And here's the thing, man, that I will say to UNLV, all right? And I did say this on Twitter, and I said this respectfully, and people that cover the team actually liked it, and no issue. But what I said is that basically UNLV showed some backbone and finally grew some you know what I mean, by this hire. Not by the Odom hire, but by the Petrino hire. The fact that you were going to get a lot of negative criticism from it, but you still went after it because you need to make that different splash that you have not made yet. You have the new stadium still. You have all that. You have the facilities. I'm good with it. UNLV switched it up. I like the hire. And overall, just the athletic department, what Harp is doing, bro, I love what I've seen since Harp has taken over. No disrespect to Desiree. I just felt like she just sat back and watched. As where you look at Harp, and Harp is everywhere. You know what I mean? You watch him, he's at football games, basketball games. He's everywhere. And not only is he just there for a split second, he's there handshaking, greeting people, saying hi, taking pictures. Desiree, you rarely saw that. You would see her, but it wasn't about handshakes and about pictures and about all that. And if it was quick. As where Harp, to me, he's about the people. He's about the fans. He wants everyone to enjoy and be there all together.
Have you had an opportunity to look at what Desiree is doing over at Missouri?
I have not, so I'm not going to take anything. Again,
one of the things that I just will say, the reason why I was asking is because she just hijacked Don Sullivan, the last coach to bring a national title to UNLV, which is the volleyball coach. She just snatched her over to the SEC.
Okay, I didn't know that.
It's one of those, I think that was her fourth hire already. Okay. So obviously time will tell, but if you look at her track record here, she hired a bunch of winners. I don't really know how you look at it. Christy Fox is a winner. Don Sullivan is a winner.
So I'm not going to take away the other programs. I'm talking about football, basketball. No disrespect to baseball, to volleyball, to soccer. Right. All those are great. I don't cover those teams like that. Right. So I don't want to speak on that if that makes sense. I'm just talking about, if we're being real, the top two sports that are out there that we know are going to be talked about. She did nothing for UNLV football, in my opinion. If we're come on.
No,
Tony,
I mean,
who brought in the Fertitta stuff? Let's be real. Was it Desiree or was it Tony?
It's Tony.
Okay, he did that. Who did everything with the stadium more than likely?
Tony.
Okay. When it comes to basketball, I know Marvin was not bad. Marvin was very good. His record, things that he did here. But aside from that, what did she really do? She could have found a way, which I know this isn't the greatest name to say now, but Chris Beard. She could have found a way to got him. She could have found a way to get Mick Cronin and didn't make that happen. There were realistic names. Like you and I just talked about fake names that get thrown out there, but there were realistic names that she could have had here.
Some of those names that I threw out were realistic as well.
Okay.
And I'll leave it at, at the very least one of them. At the very least one of those names, I know
sources
for a fact.
Sources say.
Yeah,
I never
sources
say.
say.
I don't believe in that.
Sources say.
I know there are sources and people that have credible ones, but I don't do that, so I'm not gonna throw that out there. But yeah, man, I'm excited for UNLV football this next coming up season. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm excited to see what they got and what comes from all these hires. You know what I mean? They're spending money. They're making it seem like they're trying to show that they could be a Power 5, even though I know they're not in that type of conference. But it'd be nice to just see them have a winning record again, bro. You know what I mean? Like being 4-1 this season and then having that dip was rough. You know what I mean? There was a lot of people that are like, bro, we're going to win these next 2 games. We're going to be bowl eligible by midseason, this, that, and then just done. So, you know what I mean? Scraping, hoping to get that 5th win at the end. And it was tough, man. But the one thing that I will give credit to is UNLV football fans. The reason being, they packed it more and more and more every game this year. Every game was not less. Every game there was more people. So I give them credit. They're filling up that lower bowl as much as possible. I know you're not going to get all of Allegiant, but if you get that whole lower bowl just full, it looks nice and it sounds nice.
I mean, they were rewarded with W's this year. So I mean, there's a reason to come out in that sense. But I mean, going back to what you said about Marcus Arroyo, I definitely think that 4-1 start, as much as I may have criticized him on my radio show, I absolutely still said, with the 4-1 start, I think it's impossible not to give him a year. I think you monitor the start for next year, definitely. Correct. But I'm not necessarily sure that I would have pulled the plug.
So I'm not a coach. I'm not an AD. I'm not any of that, right? But if I'm from the outside looking in, because I've looked at this over and over and over again, and it's funny you say that, 4-1, I say give him another year, right? But I kept going over and over and looking at this, and what could have possibly, scenarios, conspiracy theories, this, that, and the other. The only thing that I can think of, you have a guy in Cam Frail, which also came in last year knowing he technically wasn't going to be the guy, but had to step up and be the guy. Freshman of the year, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yep.
Mountain West Freshman of the Year.
Yep.
You get injuries, you have to come back in again. If you're a head coach, you have to play with what you have, right? You have to coach what you have and be able to win with the players that you have. What happened with Cam? You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
He wasn't able to do what he did last year. Now, was that coaching? Was that him as a player? You see what I'm saying? I think that could have played a big picture in it, but who knows? Again, we don't know what happened. Right. Some people say Marcus wasn't Harp's guy. Harp wanted to move on and make his splash. Again, I don't know. You have the smiles over here, so I'm pretty sure you know something, but you can't tell us everything. So I get it, man. Definitely, I don't want to get you in trouble at all or any hot water for sure.
Nah, for sure. I mean, I think I'm pretty safe with the way that I move and certain stuff. But I mean, let's just call a spade a spade. That's what I like to live by. Yeah. We've all had regular jobs, right? So I'll tell this quick story. I used to work at the movie theater in California, right?
Okay.
And we got bought out.
Okay.
Got bought out, name change, uniform change, everything, right? It's common practice for a new general manager or somebody who holds that type of power to come in. And if I'm going to be judged on what you guys do, I'm bringing my guys in or my ladies in. That's just what's going to happen. So I'm at the movie theater. The new general manager gets hired. We're like, okay, we feel like our shifts are about to start getting cut. Something just seems weird. And they were like, no shifts are getting cut. Next week, we had 13 new people on the schedule. Oh, we know what's about to happen. People start dropping like flies. So I just don't think people should be any more shocked when it happens in the sporting realm. I mean, not to sound like that, but like you just said, you win those final 2 games, you're bowl eligible. It's impossible to fire you at that point.
It was tough though, man. That was the dagger. The fact that they did not end up being bowl eligible was a dagger. Now, one thing that I will say that I did not like opinion-wise that Harp ended up leading with and then basically switched his mind. First it was, well, we're not going to play in a bowl game even if they offer us one. Then it was, oh, we are. But you said we are after you fire the guy. If you're going to do that, at least let the guy coach his final game and let him have that opportunity to coach his players in a bowl game. You know what I mean? But they didn't get one anyways because I think Toledo or whoever it was ended up winning their game.
Somebody did.
So it killed out everybody's chances or whatever. But yeah, but at the end of the day, they didn't even have a 6-6 record. I don't want to see a team that doesn't even at least have that, you know what I mean, in there. But sticking to football, you got NFL. I know you cover the Raiders out here as well. You cover all things NFL. Who is your NFL team, by the way? Don't tell me the Raiders. Okay.
I got Raider ties. Okay. Tim Brown is my cousin, and I'm a name drop for a quick second.
Go for
it. No, I just wanted to name drop for a quick second. But Tim, the reason why is because you asked me my favorite team, and I always like to kind of say that because Tim kind of cringes whenever I say what team I grew up kind of rooting for. But obviously, I have what I call blood ties to the Raiders, but I'm definitely a Packer fan.
So Raiders 6-8. Technically, they're not out of it, right? They're still in the playoff, which is insane. Last week's game was insane. If we're talking about insanity,
yep.
What is it? Oh, they're up 1. There was people that have money on that game, which is crazy. So if the Patriots come down and do anything, that game's over, right? Yep. It's insane. But just the way that it ended, I like that picture that they have out there that's posted everywhere. I know you guys saw it. Mac Jones getting stuffed down to the ground. I love it. I'm a Jets fan, so anytime the Patriots get beat, you know what I mean?
Really?
Oh, I've been a Jets fan. Hey, as sad as it is, I know, right? And the Jets, hey, you guys are looking good, baby. Keep losing. I ain't trying to get that tattoo. I don't know if you know, but I did have something, and I posted it on Twitter as well. Before the season started, I said that I was so confident the Jets would be so bad this year that if they had a winning record, which means 9-8 or higher, I would get their record and their logo and the year tatted on me. They've been sitting at that 7-win mark for a minute now, and they haven't won. I think we were 7-3 at one point. We're 7-6 now, so 7-7, so I'm looking good right now. You know
I've never seen a bet like this.
Well, it was just That's me, crazy. Something that I was just telling people, there's no way we're so bad. I don't like Zach Wilson. And I still don't like Zach Wilson. But hey, I will say I would
go back and delete that tweet if I were you.
Nah, I'm a man of my word. I'm going to get it done regardless if it happens. But look, the Raiders, right? A lot going on this season. Everybody can speak. Everybody can talk their mouth, run their mouth. Fans say what they want. McDaniels isn't the guy. He is the guy. We got to give him time. It's only his first year, whatever it may be, right? I look at it this way, and I've said it over and over again, and I may sound like a broken record. If a guy like Rich Bisaccia was able to take this exact same team with now more better added players, you know what I mean? You got some guys on defense. You got one of the best, greatest receivers in the league on your team now, and supposedly you have a guy that is more of a head coach than Rich Bisaccia was, but you're 6-8. You're fighting for your life, and you have to win out, and you need a bunch of things to happen to make these playoffs, right?
Yep.
Are you happy with the hire so far? 14 games into the season?
I think it's impossible to say that anybody who covers the Raiders, who's on the Raiders, who's coaching the Raiders, is happy to this degree.
Yeah.
Right? I think anybody would say that this season so far has been discouraging in that regard in terms of the win-loss record. But I definitely think going back to Rich Bisaccia, who's the special teams coordinator for Green Bay, by the way.
Another little plug.
There's a difference between, and this is what's so interesting, obviously covering the NFL, right? You understand that they talk about it all the time. These coaches need to be leaders of men. And I'm not saying that Josh McDaniels isn't, but the feel that I get, as I said before, this is my first year covering them in person, but from the conversations that I've had, it appears that they want to win for Josh McDaniels, similar to what I said earlier. They like him. This is a guy that they like. Rich Bisaccia had something about him that lit a fire under everybody. And I think you can see at certain moments, Josh McDaniels does say certain things and do certain things, apparently, that lights a fire clearly under Josh Jacobs, clearly under certain people. But Rich Bisaccia had this come together factor that I think the Raiders somewhat are missing this year. And I'm not saying that they can't mold into that, but as you just said before, 14 games into the year, we would have thought at the very least we would have seen it by now.
I would have thought at least a winning record.
Yeah, man.
You know what I mean? Like, I'm not saying be leader of your division or anything like that, but be in the hunt, meaning you're already one of the seeds that are numbered in there and you have a winning record. Like, there's no excuse for it, man. And now I want to ask you this question. I want to ask both of you guys this question because I've heard this from numerous people just from chatter, right? I don't agree with it. I just hear it. So I like to stick and remember things that I heard. Do you guys think, or do you feel or believe in any way, shape, or form that Mark Davis maybe isn't the best owner overall when it comes to hiring head coaches? Not owner in general, but owner when it comes to hiring these head coaches.
Want me to go?
I'll go.
Go for it.
I don't think he's done a good job, honestly, in the past, just because of what has transpired in the Raiders' history. Carr had one good year with Carr. Other than that, I feel like the Raiders has been underachieving as a franchise in general, just going back to whether it's general manager choices and draft picks and just I just feel like the Raiders franchise just in general has just been a huge mess. So I don't think he's.
Can I answer this?
Yeah.
He hired Becky Hammond.
No,
you're talking about a different sport.
Okay.
But that's what he did. He hired Becky Hammond. He's done a great job with the Aces. You're blaming coaches and players are not playing well.
Oh, no, I'm not. I'm just saying.
No, I'm just saying in
cool.
general. Like it doesn't matter who you hire. You guys, they're supposed to be really good this year.
Yeah,
they suck.
Very underachieved season.
Darren Waller has been to more Aces games than Raiders games.
And the season's already over.
Stole my guy Wall out.
But look, I will agree with Quan. Yes, the hire with the Aces, I agree 100%. What he's done with the Aces and what he's continuing to do, I agree with that. But just, I don't know if I agree or disagree with the whole football owner comment. You know what I mean? Has he had some slip-ups and made some things where it makes you scratch your head? Especially the Mike. I was never with the Mike Mayock hire. I thought that was the most ridiculous thing ever. But I'm not going to go as far as to say that he's not a great NFL owner when it comes to hiring head coaches because he also hasn't really been full-time owner that long. His dad passed away, 15, 20 years ago around there? Am I wrong? I've wrong on the number?
I feel like that might be a little more.
All right, so
a little high, I should say, but we'll see.
But a little high. But you know what I mean? Like he hasn't been around as long as his pops was running the team and doing everything. So I still think that I don't have an opinion on that. Has he made some things that made you scratch your head 100%? But what do you think?
I mean, at the end of the day, I feel like you look at the way that this team is losing, and all I can do. First of all the players can do is go out there and perform to their best ability, right? All a coach can do is put the guys in the best position to succeed. All the owner can do is put the right pieces on the chessboard. Mark Davis has done that.
Okay.
What you guys do with it, how you play your hand, that's not it. Now, if I have to reshuffle the deck, that's something different. It's on you to play your hand.
So you think he reshuffles a deck too soon sometimes?
No, I wouldn't say he does. I think what's so interesting about the Raiders is if you went outside and asked 100 random football fans, when you think of snake bitten franchise, what team comes to mind? Most of those people, I would say probably more than half would say the Raiders. Right, wrong, or indifferent. Yeah. I think they would say the Raiders. With that being in the back of my mind, I think it's almost impossible for me to look at Mark Davis and have a clear-cut view of things because the Raiders haven't had a clear-cut situation in so long. So I feel like he can only play the hand that he's dealt. And I think when you look at this season, I mean, I don't know too many people that set their team up for better success than Mark Davis. I mean, I think if I was him, somebody owes me a little something on the back end of this, because I like I said, I did my part. And Quan kind of just talked about it right now. And I've shown in the WNBA, I will exhaust all options. I will exhaust every single option if it means winning. What more do the Raiders want at this point?
Mark's doing his best, man. The only thing that I will say is that that conversation, I heard it on radio. That's the crazy thing about it, right? You hear it on radio, and you hear it from people that are pretty big in the media, right, locally, and it makes you scratch your head, because some of these people continue to get credentialed and they keep getting a lot more access than other people do, right? But yet, if someone like myself were to say something like that, and I agree with it to the fullest, and I'm trying to rip Mark Davis, I won't receive another email from the Raiders for the rest of my life. You know what I mean? But it's just crazy. Again, that was just talked about over radio throughout the week. I heard it, and it was interesting to me, especially the conversation, how it was brought up, and the individual that said it. But, you know, at the end of the day, it is what it is. Everyone has their opinions, right? Not everyone is going to agree with them. You know, you guys know the saying. I'm not going to say it because I can't use bad words, but, you know. Anyways, man, we're coming to the end of the show here. We got a few more minutes left. But at the end of the show, normally we like to do our picks of the week, right? So we give out, you could give me just a straight bet winner. If you want to give me a point spread winner, whatever you want, I'll give you your time right now while we get our stuff set up. I got to look for my stuff over here as well. I know Jalen has some as well that he wants to give out. Last week, my guy Jalen had the Packers. I do believe Packers come out 24-12, win that game outright against the Rams on Monday Night Football. Barn burner of a game, right? Some crazy game. My pick of the week was the Bengals -3 going on the road against the Bucks. That was a very nice game. If you're watching that, Joe Burrow and the Bengals team in general right now, if I'm being honest with you, if I'm going from last year to this year, I think that this is a better team at this point in the season than they were last year. I think they're a scarier team now in this point of the season than they were last year. Now, if I'm being honest, I don't think Kansas City wants to see the Cincinnati team in the playoffs at any point in time again this year. Because last year, we saw that Cincinnati's not afraid. Their defense can give up points, so can Kansas City's. But both teams can also give up offense. And I think that Cincinnati's defense was actually a lot better last year going into that game. If you follow what they did, and a lot of people didn't give them credit for it, right? Now, the offensive line, that was a huge thing. I think they were giving up sacks like crazy at the end of the season and in the beginning of this season as well. But they've gotten it together. They figured it out. Coaching is doing a great job there in Cincinnati. Bengals are looking good, man. My team to win the Super Bowl, to get to the Super Bowl in the AFC this year was the Steelers. We know damn well that's not going to happen. Bengals definitely looking like that team can be this year, man. But Jalen, what do you got this week for us? Anything in particular that you already looked at that you like? And what are you going to give us?
Yeah, I like the Lions game, the Lions versus the Panthers. I like the Lions -3. The Lions are coming
hot.
Yeah, hot, man.
Hot.
Coming on at the right time, man. Dan Campbell, I like what they're doing. I feel like they got a real chance to get in the playoffs. So I like the Lions -3 against the Panthers.
Not a bad one right there. Yeah, we're looking at the Lions. Actually, I'm going to give you the better line. I'm looking at the line that I will use here. We got the Lions at -2.5 going on the road at Cincinnati.
Even better.
So you get the hook there. If they get the field goals, you're good. And look, man, Detroit, you said it. Dan Campbell, big ups to him. The way that they've been coaching their butts off, man. And not only that, how about Jared Goff, right? Look at this guy's last 5 games. 2 touchdowns, no picks. 2 touchdowns, no picks. 3 touchdowns, no picks. 1 touchdown, no picks. He's not making mistakes. Yeah. And for everyone that said, well, the trade was better, Stafford, obviously it's still early, but he now is understanding the team more. He has the camaraderie with these receivers, with the running backs. He knows his offensive line. He's getting used to the coaches. Everything takes time. We said it earlier with UNLV as well. So our guy, Chris Swin, I know he's a big Lions fan, guy from Detroit, Michigan. Lions are looking good right now, man.
And another thing about that too, and for what I can say about the Lions, at the beginning of the season, the Lions were one of my sleeper teams just because I watched Hard Knocks and I see what the coaches were doing around there, how they were trying to build that culture. And I feel like they weren't doing that just because the cameras were there. I feel like they were doing that because they were really passionate and trying to build something in Detroit, because Detroit, they haven't had a winning culture just in the city in general. They haven't had a winning culture in so long. So I felt like what they're doing there is really real. And I feel like they're just coming along now, and they have a bright future. They have a bright future in Detroit. So
it's looking really good, man. And Jared Goff is still young. He's not old. He got a lot of juice left in him. But Terrell, What you got, my guy?
You can actually probably tell me the point spread on yours, but I'm actually going to the Golden Knights tonight. And the reason why
Oh,
is
you're giving us
because
a night game tonight. Okay,
I
let's see.
am. I am. The
gotta
reason
pull this
why
one
is
up.
because the Arizona Coyotes are in town. And my guy Matthew Raftery is at the game tonight. However, this team is under 500 at home. So they're the second best team in the NHL. And Bruce Cassidy actually was asked this question after the last game. How often do you see a team on the upper echelon of the league, upper echelon part of the league, have a bad home record? And kind of what goes into that. And he pulled from his previous experience being Boston. And if you guys want to talk about what Boston looks like this year, they're 17-0-2 at home. That's the almost exact opposite of what the Knights are looking at. I think they're 8-9 on at home this year. Tonight they get what's the Jalen? Give me a professional way as an athlete to say this is a game that we should win. I don't want to call it obviously a stepping stone game. I don't want to call it a lock. But what is this? You have Arizona coming in. The Knights can't afford to lose this game.
Game where they should take care of business.
That's what we're gonna call it. This is a game where the Knights should take care of business. I think they're probably favored. They should be favored, and they should get the job done.
So look, coming in at a minus 320 favorite, they better take care of business.
Get this job done. Yeah, they got to get it done.
It's all good though. That's Terrell's pick of the week. He switched it up. We've never had anyone do that on the show. It's normally a college football pick or football in the NFL. So that was nice. You switched it up on us. All right, so I got to finish it up with my part here. And I'll tell you guys why here shortly. But this will be my final pick of the week here on the show, man. It's been fun. We've had a lot of laughs, a lot of good times, a lot of good things going on here. But it ain't over. Just taking a little bit of break. We're going to talk about that here shortly. But my pick of the week, to finish it all off, I'm going back between two games here. But I'm gonna go with one because it's gonna put a smile on somebody's face here in the studio. Give me the Niners -7 against the Commanders at home. I like the Commanders. I like what Tyler Heineke. I'm glad he's getting that opportunity. Ron Rivera's been coaching his butt off with this team to be able to make them a playoff contender and become a respectable team and not a laughing stock because of the organization of who they are, right? But also the 49ers, man. Brock Purdy is going in there and just playing games. He is not going in there trying to be someone he's not. And that coaching staff is run everything perfectly for this young man since he's been in there. And he has, in my opinion, the best defense in the NFL right now, right behind him to take care of him if he can't make it happen on offense. So with that being said, give me the 49ers this week against the Commanders at home at -7. They'll win by a touchdown or more easily, I believe so. But fellas, we are at the end of the show. Terrell, greatly appreciate you, my guy. Before we let you go, let everyone know where they can find you and everything else you got going on.
Oh, well, if you guys want to go ahead and follow me on Twitter, you guys can do so at Sir_Chatterbox. That's SIR_CHATTERBOX. But yeah, man, I appreciate you guys. If you guys want to follow anything that the media company does, it's talkthattalkradio.com. Again, our website is talkthattalkradio.com, and I appreciate you guys just for having us on.
Appreciate you, my guy. Definitely, this isn't the last time we'll do this. We're definitely going to have a lot more collabs in the future. Appreciate you. Best of luck in the new year. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year to you and your family. Continued success, my guy.
Same thing to you and yours.
Appreciate you. Jalen, what you got?
Thank you for having me, man. Great show. Great ending of the show, man. We're going to come back stronger next new year. So find me at Jalen Graves _ on Twitter.
Definitely, man. So I'm going to go ahead and finish it out like this. First, I'll say thank you to the people that are in the studio here right now. Terrell, first time here, not the last time we'll have you on the show, but we greatly appreciate you for making it happen and being a part of it. You are a part of our history, and that will never change. You will always be there, cemented in stone. So thank you. Jalen, you were on my very first ever episode here on Gorilla Cross Radio. You were still an athlete at UNLV. You gave me the time of day. You jumped in the studio with us. You did an amazing job. And now you're finishing up with being my co-host in these last couple of weeks. I greatly appreciate you and what you've done and your hard work to continue your craft and not give up on what you want to do and what you love to do, my man. So same to you. Big ups to you. Big respect. Thank you for coming in the studio, doing what you do and what you have done. To my two previous co-hosts in the past, my guy, Rob G., my son's godfather. We've had our ups and downs. We had our issues, but it was fun, man. It was a fun ride. We're good now. Everything is great. Family is family. Relationships are relationships. You move on and you grow and you learn from it. To my guy, EMB, man, you jumped in when you kept bugging me for years and I never hit you up, but that opportunity was there when I did hit you up and you took it and you ran with it and you made the show great. You helped me a lot. You were my producer, my executive producer, like I told you, because you always got the show logs and everything ready for me. So I greatly appreciate you. And for Quan, 5'9", the one and only, man. Everything that you guys see here, the cameras, the studio behind me, every guest that has ever walked through that door for my show, for our show, has said, just like Terrell has said, man, this place is fire. This place is hot. I love this spot. It's amazing. And it is. If you guys have ever been in the studio, I am so grateful and thankful that not only have I been a part of this studio for the last 2.5 years, but that I will continue to do so. I'm not leaving the studio. My show is for a time being. We're taking a seat. We're going to relax for a couple months to get things right, to get our sponsors right. We've had great sponsors throughout the years as well. Our guy that started it all off with us, Joshua LaFont from Simply Vegas Real Estate, was my guy for 2 years and gave me that opportunity and said, I'm going to jump with you because I believe in you and we're going to make this show happen. To our guy, Eric Navarro from our Line 'em Up by Eric, my personal barber, he jumped in with me as well and said, I believe in you. I love it. I love what you're doing and I know you're going to make it and you're going to be out there someday. And again, I've said it over and over again. These people say me, but it's not about me. It's about everyone that has been a part of this show. It's about building bridges and making them go as far as we can, and we can all go as far as we want. And to the final thing that I will say, dreams too come true as long as you don't give up. Don't ever listen to what anybody tells you on the negative side. I interned on Fox Sports Radio for 2.5 years. When I decided to dip, I was told, you are never going to make it on internet radio. You are making a huge mistake. I'll see you calling me in the next couple weeks to come back and work on my show. It's been 2.5 years. I've been on this show. I've been on this radio station. And I made it happen. Don't ever, ever let anyone tell you that you cannot make your dreams come true, because I did, and I'm not going to stop. So Jalen, Terrell, Quan, everyone that's ever been a part of the show, I greatly appreciate you guys. Till next time, this is not goodbye. This is our 140th episode, and it will continue. Continue to follow us and follow me on all things social media. The media side on me will continue to come out. Till next time, have a happy new year and a Merry Christmas. Stay blessed. We are out. Peace.